All right, I just wanted to express a few things tonight while I'm waiting for a hitting lesson to start. So I was reading this tweet a couple days ago. It was a thread, and it was talking about travel ball and different things of that nature. And I just saw one that came up today by Chad Longworth, and Chad was saying, youth travel ball started in my little corner of the world 10 years ago. Today, I would say these high school baseball players, on the whole, have never been more disinterested in baseball. Youth travel ball fails to pique independent curiosity in the pursuit of the game, as well as foster a love of the craft. Oftentimes, it's just another venue that creates even more dependency on a gatekeeper of knowledge and pacification of failure and struggle. As someone that played baseball longer than most, I can tell you that the reason that our younger players will continue to pursue the game in the face of all setbacks the game presents is because they love it. That's it. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about travel ball because I saw something the other day where we've got 8U travel ball teams, 7U travel ball teams, and 6U travel ball teams. And I'm not saying that, I'm the expert on, when a kid should or should not play travel ball. I'm just telling you from my experience, it's unfortunate that travel ball is becoming the only option for youth players to get involved in the game. And what I mean by that is I just had a kid the other day he's like 8 years old, maybe getting ready to turn 9. He's never really played youth baseball, youth organized baseball. Um, and city leagues and rec leagues, they are diminishing. Like participation rates in your local leagues are not what they used to be when I was growing up. So now a 8-year-old kid doesn't really have an option to get involved in playing baseball unless he goes and tries out for some travel ball team. So kids are spending most of their time playing the game that they're trying to, first of all, they're trying to see if they like it. Second of all, they're trying to figure out how to play it and have fun. But the only time they really play is when they're in front of an umpire, a team in another uniform, the scoreboard is turned on, and there are fans watching. And it's completely different than what it was when I grew up. We spent most of our time learning how to play the game when we were in some neighborhood backyard and nobody's parents were really around. We were just in a friend's backyard and we were playing wiffle ball and we were making up the rules, like, 2 outs, switch the inning. You had a tennis ball, and if you could throw the ball and peg the person while they were running around the bases, they were out. But we learned the ins and outs of how to play the game by just playing the game and literally playing. Like, there was no scoreboard, there wasn't a uniform, we didn't need an umpire, we didn't have parents watching. So you think about how kids are growing up today. Like, when do they actually play baseball? When do they play softball? And what I mean by that is if it's only travel ball, it's always organized. If they have practice at indoor facility at 8 years old, there are other coaches and it's always organized. They're telling them to do this or telling them to do that. They don't have the freedom to explore their own natural movements, and they don't have the freedom to just like kind of figure out how to swing fast, make a mistake, learn from it, and learn the skills of the game by just playing it. If you compare every kid's 8U or 7U travel ball practice to what we used to do in the backyard, it's completely different. Um, I swung and missed a lot when we were playing wiffle ball, but there was no punishment. There was no fear of striking out or fear of being embarrassed. It was just me and my buddies, and we're playing in the yard, and we're trying to see how far we can hit it over the neighbor's house and try not to get in trouble because we're hitting it on somebody's roof or something like that. But there's 7 or 10 of us in the backyard, and we're playing the game, and we're figuring out how to make mistakes and how to learn from them just by doing something we enjoyed. And now, when you look at how our athletes grow up playing the game right now, the only time they get to play it is if there's an umpire, another team, and a scoreboard. So they're always afraid to mess up. Um, I don't know if there's anything else that we do as youth kids that requires such an organized audience. Like, kid gets a new toy for Christmas, just go play with it. Kids playing a video game, just go play with it. I think the big problem that we have with keeping young kids interested in playing a long time is because they never actually get to just, go play ball. Um, it's always organized and it's always structured. So when do they figure out if they even like it? When do they figure out if it's fun? You think about the local city leagues that used to be full of local baseball players, and the parity of the competition was spread out. And what I mean by that is you tried to have equal talent spread out amongst all the teams. So every game was kind of a close game, and it wasn't 25 to nothing score or whatever, because it doesn't matter which side of that you're on. If you're winning 25 to nothing, you're not really getting anything out of it, and you're definitely not getting anything out of it if you're losing 0 to 25. That's not going to encourage that athlete to keep coming and keep coming back to play. Um, so when you look at it in that type of lens, like we used to get kids to play it because they decided they want to, and they were able to do that in a backyard somewhere and play seasons, such as rec ball signups in March, rec ball starts in May or whatever, and they would play in May, play June, play July, or whatever the case may be. And then when summertime was over with, they'd go play something else in the fall, whether it was basketball, football, whatever the case may be. But now it's kind of like, hey, my 8-year-old kid's looking for somewhere to play. They might be interested in baseball or they might be interested in softball, but our local city league barely has enough people sign up to have 2 players because travel ball has kind of taken over the whole scene. And I'm not negating travel ball or saying travel ball is bad by any means. I'm just saying that we could be doing better with our youth. I feel like if we could get those city leagues back in action so that, kids would have an opportunity to just sign up and play. And then when they're not playing in front of an umpire and playing in front of another team with a scoreboard on, they could just go in their backyard and play and explore and learn how to develop their skill of throwing, hitting, catching, running, like doing that in the backyard just by playing and setting up bases and making it fun. No organized structure. You don't need parents to watch it or anything. You just get a group of kids together and have them go in the backyard and play. But now, I mean, we're getting kids at 12, 13, and 14 years old. There are more kids leaving the game at that age range, and there are a lot more kids playing travel ball now than it was a decade ago. So if we've got more kids participating in travel ball than we did a decade ago, why are we losing more kids at 12, 13, and 14 years old than we did a decade ago? These are just some thoughts that I have. And, if anybody's watching this live, comment, give me some of your feedback, because once again, this is just me letting, I've got a gap in some lessons. So I just wanted to jump up here and give some of my thoughts on how we can keep kids playing longer and hopefully get kids, playing in their city leagues more and playing in their backyards more than they used to. Yeah. And someone just mentioned like playing other sports. Like, we don't have to specialize at 9 years old and play 10 months out of the year. Play other things, explore, figure out what you like, figure out what you don't like. So if you're watching this, comment, give me some feedback. if there's any specific things you want me to talk about before I go do this last lesson at 8 o'clock and watch this national championship game, give me some feedback. But I just wanted to talk about something that was on my mind, and I saw it on Twitter, and I thought it was a thread. Like, one example I'll give you is I live in a small town, so we used to have fun when I was growing up, and everybody signed up for rec ball, and everybody played against each other, and we all competed. We all went to the same school, and then we would talk about the games when we got back to school the next day, and we would brag if we won, and we would give each other a hard time. But the same kids I grew up with playing in backyards and playing at neighborhood houses were the same kids that I was playing against in rec ball, and then those were the same kids that I was playing with in middle school, and they ended up being the same kids I played with in high school. Um, but now it's kind of like, hey, if you want to play baseball, if you want to play softball, there's not going to be enough people to sign up for the city league, so we're going to start a Firecrackers travel ball team, and we're going to have 8U tryouts next weekend. And at 7 and 8 years old, this kid gets to play the sport only when there's organized instruction taking place. We just had a comment. Let me see what they said. Unfortunate, it means more to parents than it does to kids at that age. I remember playing Nerf ball and wiffle ball against neighbors' houses. It set a foundation where we learned to love the game. More reps with Nerf ball and wiffle ball helped us hand-eye coordination. It was fun. I remember playing in the neighborhood and just having fun. Sometimes as young kids, it gets taken too serious and we don't make it fun. Rusty, that is on point, man. I agree with you completely. I can't disagree with that one bit. Like, that's the way I learned to play the game. Like, I learned to hit balls with my friends throwing tennis balls at me, and trying to get me out, and it was fun. There was no pressure. And honestly, we got way more at bats playing and having fun on the weekend than these 9 and 8-year-old kids or 10-year-old kids are even getting on a weekend playing travel ball, because we didn't have a time limit when we were playing in the backyard. Our time limit was whenever the sun went down and it was time for us to come inside. So we were getting, hundreds of at bats over the course of a weekend playing on Saturdays and Sundays, where these kids might be lucky if they get to come to the plate twice in 2 games on a weekend. Someone said, not to mention how difficult it is for parents to understand just because you play travel ball, that does not equal to a scholarship. Amen, brother. I think everybody's seeking the scholarship and they think it's coming through travel ball, but really you don't even have to play travel ball to get a scholarship. You have to be good, and people have to know about you for sure, but it doesn't necessarily have to do with travel ball. You have to be good, and you have to have a requisite skill set that colleges are looking for, and you have to figure out a way to get yourself seen. And that doesn't necessarily have to be by playing travel ball when you're 9 years old and staying with it. It just means you have to be a really good high school player, and you have to, use social media to get your information out there. You have to know how to email college coaches, go to their camps so they know who you are, send them your schedule so they can come watch you play. But they're not going to just find you because you're good. You've got to take some proactive steps in that. But travel ball is not the only way to go out and try to get a college opportunity to play baseball or play softball. Rusty said Trey hit his first college home run in a scrimmage. That's awesome, man. Tell Trey I'm super happy for him. If anybody else has any comments or things they'd like to add, like once again, I'm just eating up some time before I go do my last lesson for the night, and I just wanted to talk about, I had a client in my facility the other night, and I'm training their daughter, and they said that I think their son's 7 or 8, and he's looking for somewhere to play, and unfortunately, there's just not enough people that are signing up for the local league, so he's trying to go find a travel ball team to play with, but it's sad that that's the route that people have to go. Like, there are more travel ball teams at 8 and 9 years old than it is players signing up for their local city league. Anybody got anything else they want to add or any comments? Those of you who are up here, thank you all for viewing. Like I said, I'm just trying to eat up some time between now and my next lesson. Who's going to win the game tonight? You got Georgia or you got Bama? I'm definitely going with Alabama. I feel like Nick Saban's going to be prepared. Mandy, thanks for jumping up here and checking us out. Mandy was a guest on our Swing Angry live show, and she gave us some really good information about softball recruiting and tips to navigate that spider web. So if you missed that episode, go to the website and check out that Swing Angry live episode with Mandy. She'll give you all the tips you need about navigating the college recruiting process as a softball player. Rusty's got Georgia. I'm going to give you guys a little my thoughts on the way travel ball could be a little bit better before I jump off of here. And I wrote about this in my book. So if you haven't checked out the book, check it out on my website. If you DM me and you're interested in buying the book, I'll give you a coupon code and you can get it for 50% off. I just want to spread the information and help people out. But you think about typical travel ball, February and March, tournaments begin. Usually play 4 more games every weekend. April through July, you're continuing to play tournaments. You take the month of August off. September through November, they play more games. And then December and January, you don't play. There's a lot of game play and very little training. Playing a lot of games gets confused with getting better. We need to have an off season that includes, growing your skills through sport. And that could be growing those skills through developmental practices related to baseball or softball, strength, mobility, speed, and just improving your overall athleticism. And it could be growing your skills through sport by playing a different sport. But we need to have an off season where we can try to get better and become more athletic. And if we spend all of our off season, meaning September, October, November, playing games, we have very little time to just get better and grow our skills for the next athletic season when spring and summer comes around. And one thing you can't get back in athletic development is time. In private instruction, I see it a lot. I get some high school athletes who are just undersized. They don't have strength. They have a significant swing flaw, but they've been playing the game since they were 8, 9, or 10 years old, but they've been playing significant travel ball. So they're playing so much, they don't have a lot of time to put into getting stronger, getting faster, or cleaning up some of their swing flaws. They're just continuously busy with the game that I don't even know if they want to spend more time with the sport when they're not playing a game because they're so busy gaming all the time. And the tournaments themselves are set up to make money. They're not really set up in a developmental way for players to get better. They usually have too many teams. They cram pack those teams into 2 and 3 days. They set you up for an hour and 15-minute time limit in pool play or whatever the case might be. And if you're batting at the bottom of the order, that kid might come up to plate one time and he might get 2 at bats in 2 games. But like I said earlier, we got tons more at bats when we were playing in the backyard growing up. The way I would approach travel ball is, first of all, I would be trying to teach these kids to play the game and have as much fun as possible by mixing in mini games during practices and during training. We would be trying to grow like overall measurable skills. Like, let's swing the bat as fast as we can. Let's try to hit the ball as hard as we can. Let's run faster. Let's throw hard. And make little games and little competitions out of it. We used to play at some of my camps. It was so simple, but we'd take 8 and 9-year-old kids and we'd set up screens and have them try to throw the ball hard and hit the different screens. If you think about like playing horse and basketball, you could set screens up at different angles and have kids pick a different screen to throw the ball at. And if they hit the screen, somebody else would have to do it. And then, if they throw on the run and they hit the screen, somebody would have to do it. But anyways, you can make little games out of it and try to make your practices and your development fun. But the main thing is you need to develop their skills that they're going to need as they get older. So they need to throw harder. They need to run faster. They need to hit the ball harder. They need to swing the bat faster. So doing things like that, it should definitely be the goal. September and October, we would skill development and do things like that. Like, let's develop our skills. Let's be better infielders, get better footwork, be better offensive hitters. And on the weekends, we could just play little mini games with each other. They could be inter squad scrimmages where it's not very organized with another team in a uniform or umpires or whatever. Coaches can kind of control the scrimmage, get kids a lot of at bats, bat 5 players or 3 outs. And if they don't get 3 outs after 5 batters, switch the inning, keep it moving. Let every kid throw maybe an inning or so. Build your pitchers up. Let every kid learn how to pitch. And then November and December, work on strength, speed, and mobility. Younger athletes can do body weight exercises. They can throw medicine balls. They can do anything of that nature, and it's not going to hurt them. Older athletes who are more experienced could start developing with free weights, doing speed agility drills, plyometric exercises, all of that stuff. And then when we roll into January and February, we could continue doing some skill development and some team practices, like getting our hitting, our throwing, catching, base running, like just learning and having fun all at the same time. And then March through May, play in your spring season. If you're a middle school or a high school athlete, play with your schools. Youth athletes can play in their rec leagues, play some city tournaments, or play in their city leagues and play some weekend tournaments. And then June and July, everybody can just have fun and play summer ball. That's kind of a summary of just how I would approach travel ball with a little bit of a better model. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree, maybe you have some thoughts, but it's frustrating that all I see is, these younger kids who aren't even 10 years old, and they're trying to get their first taste of playing the sport. And it doesn't happen in their backyard when they can have fun. And the sandlot baseball days are kind of long and gone, and everything is organized and it's travel ball and everybody's in a uniform and there's an umpire and all of that. There's too much stress and not enough fun. I got to jump. I'm going to go finish my last lesson tonight, and I'm going to go watch Alabama beat Georgia. So if you guys have anything you want to reach out, feel free to send me a message. Other than that, hope this helps. Swing angry, and see you guys next time.